Welcome to Home Fires, a series unravelling the thoughts, processes and research behind a recent exhibition or work. I'm joined by Nour el Saleh, who has opened Underfoot at Edel Assanti here in London. We're going to focus today on one specific work called Aggressive Camouflage. We focus in on two forms who are in a slightly loving but slightly awkward embrace. And I wanted to ask you, Nour, what's the relationship between these two figures?
So I think that in general, the painting was kind of trying to just get this idea of sustenance, be it in a self-sustenance sense, so in a psychoanalytical, but also biological way, keeping yourself alive, but also in relation to an ecosystem, how it keeps itself alive and keeps going without the idea of a higher power. So the kind of mountainous humanoid is being embraced, but also kind of lifted by this red-headed figure. The world is starting and they're helping each other come to life. But also just in the context of survival, there's always a need for aggression, and something has to feed off itself and fight itself to keep itself alive or fight what's around it.
You're taking us into this infinite regression. I wanted to ask you a bit about this visual riddle.
It kind of exists within itself. Like, you can't see the start or the end of the world because it just continues, it loops. So specifically in the context of this painting, there is no kind of core to this universe. If you look deep inside it, you just find it again. And I guess that's what's happening inside this mountainous humanoid. The red figure is kind of presenting this slit. And in there, you can see the whole view that you are faced with the painting, but from behind in a miniature way. And I guess that miniature is what indicates that green figure is a mountain.
In this image, it's much more the land and the terrain that overlaps. Is this image related to this whole world, or is it a separate world?
I think it's almost like I guess it acts as the blueprint to the world that I then elaborate on. It starts off a lot of the ideas. It's not solid. You can't really see the landscape too much. Even in the way it's painted is a lot looser, because I use that painting as a way of exploring the ideas and the thoughts that drew me towards creating this ecosystem and this world. Initially, the green figure read to me as this big insect human. And then as I started to work on it, I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. So in a way, the intention to work on it as an insect then fed into Underfoot, the other painting, where I then was able to do that because I'd figured out kind of the baseline of what I wanted this world to be.
These works are, as much as they are compelling, they're also, on the flip side, quite repelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've always been, I guess my work tends to be based on the idea of ugliness. And that was something that I have obsessed over for years. I only recently started to think about beauty as another way of channeling ugliness, or kind of using beauty as something that is familiar, but also, I guess, when beauty is obstructed, it's more painful than ugliness, or I guess the reaction is more drastic.
It also makes me think of the way that you have depicted some of these characters, this grotesque, and the way that it's really alluring in its disgustingness.
Yeah, I feel like the idea of kind of attracting someone's attention with either is really interesting to me. So like this idea of the temptress, but also the idea of like something being so bad, or someone telling you not to do it and then you absolutely have to do it. And I guess it's these extremes that I use as tools to draw myself in when I'm painting, and then the viewer when the painting's kind of finished. Something is so repulsive that you don't want to look at it, but you just can't help yourself, is something I've always worked with, I guess. But now kind of seeing the appeal of making something so beautiful that you want to come close to it, but as you get closer and closer to it, you just wish you hadn't done that. So this kind of deceiving beauty, I guess.